Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for the Knee-Jerk live reaction stream, as always, on a Sunday evening. So, welcome everyone who is watching. How you doing, Jordan, on this Sunday evening? Everything good? You've been enjoying the football over the weekend?
Yeah, the football's been very good over the weekend. A lot to say about Man United. I'll be honest, it took a lot of courage to put this Man United t-shirt on today, but I've done it. So let's begin.
Yeah, it's been some good football, I think, over the weekend. I mean, in the FPL wise, it hasn't been a great game week, I don't think, for me anyway. I know we'll talk about your team, but yeah, it was actually pretty good weekend. I think I was at the Liverpool game yesterday. I went up to Anfield. It was a good game, and yeah, let's chat FPL and how our teams look for game week 2. So where do we begin? Let's start off with the goalie Turner. He only got the 2 points. Now, as you guys know, there was a lot of this chat in the community who to play. Should we play Turner? Should we play Pickford? And at the end, I think we got it correct. You know, we benched Pickford for those that have the Pickford-Turner combo. And yeah, Turner should have kept a clean sheet, if I'm being honest. I thought Nottingham Forest played pretty well. Sheffield didn't really have much shots on target, really. And obviously, Sheffield went and scored that wonder goal where Turner really had nothing to do about it. But other than that, you know, it was close of the getting that clean sheet. But they did concede. But ultimately, it was still the right pick going with Turner. So he ends up with the 2 points. Moving on to the back three now. Let's start off with Estupinian. Now, I didn't watch the game because obviously I was at the Liverpool game, and I come out of the game and I see that Estupinian has scored, got an assist, and picked up a bonus point as well. And he also played the 90 minutes. So Estupinian ends up with a lovely double-digit return, 11-pointer from him. The assist is a bit of an FPL assist. So what he did, for those that haven't seen his assist, he literally just passed the ball to Mitoma, and Mitoma ran past maybe 3 players and then slotted it. So bit of a lucky assist, I would say, because Mitoma had to do all the work. However, we'll take that. And Estupinian, for those that don't have Estupinian, I don't know what you're doing. He's owned by a 58%. That's probably going to rise again. But yeah, he's been a very good pick. First game week, 7 points. Second game week, 11 points. And yeah, he's been a brilliant player for my team. Moving on to Ben Chilwell. Now, there was a lot of hype surrounding Ben Chilwell ahead of this fixture. We saw what he did against Liverpool. I believe he got, was it a 7-pointer? But this game, he was actually subbed off, guys, just before the hour mark. And he did concede 2 goals while being on the pitch. He ends up with only a 1-pointer, which is pretty disappointing. I didn't expect a clean sheet from the Chelsea-West Ham game, if I'm being honest. But conceding 3 maybe comes as a bit of a surprise. I know he did go off after an hour, but I think that's because Mudryk came on. And looking at what Chelsea fans were saying on social media, apparently it was to do with the fact that Pochettino wanted to keep some height on the back line, and he kept Levi Cole on. So it seems that when Mudryk comes on that left-hand side, Chilwell could make way. So that's one to watch with Ben Chilwell. But the fixtures still look good moving forward, and he's not going anywhere for my team anyway. But yeah, a bit disappointing, only the 1 point. Gabriel plays tomorrow against Palace, Monday Night Football, so not really much to discuss there. Let's move on to the man of the game week. You'd have to say, as you can see from the thumbnail, we're going to talk about Mbeumo and the other 6.5 million midfielder that we'll come on to. But Mbeumo had a smashing game. Probably was the pick of the bunch on my team, obviously getting the 16-pointer. Brilliant performance from him and Brentford. He played the 90 minutes, got the 2 goals. Again, he scored a penalty, which is always important, obviously, in FPL to have penalty takers. And he trumps up for me, 16-pointer. Very happy with that. Also got the clean sheet points, and he went away with the 3 bonus points. And his ownership is only 14%, which is pretty low. A bit of a differential. And I think his ownership's going to, rocket now. I think heading into game week 3, I think I can see a lot of transfers coming in for Mbeumo at 6.5 million as well. Moving on to Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. Now, this is where there is a bit of frustration from me with the Man United assets, because I've held on to them 2 game weeks now. And both game weeks, Man United assets have been pretty frustrating. You know, Rashford's 9 million and Bruno's 8.5 million. They're a lot more pricier than the other cheaper options that are scoring, like a Diaby, like a Matoma, etc. Those two haven't really paid off for me so far. It is a bit frustrating. Bruno missed a sitter. You know, he had a header that he really should have scored. I think Rashford had another one as well where he should have scored. So both of these players, Rashford and Fernandes, missed guilt-edged opportunities to put Man United ahead in the first half. Obviously, Rashford was playing down the middle, which I don't believe he's good at, if I'm being honest. I think Rashford is much better playing down the left, cutting in. So we'll have to wait and see what Ten Hag does. But he will have to change it for the third game, against Nottingham Forest, because Man United haven't been great for the first two fixtures. We will come on to them in a sec. But yeah, overall disappointing that I didn't get any returns from them, and they could be in the chopping block going forward. I think the Man United assets, because they are taking a bit of change in my team, and there's other midfielders that are performing well, etc. Moving on to the Arsenal boys, Saka, Martinelli, again, similar to Gabriel. They play tomorrow night, so you know, I've got triple Arsenal, so we'll have to see how they do, and hopefully they can get me points next week. Points tomorrow, because I'm gonna need it. I think. Let's move up top. You know, João Pedro, frustrating. I was actually at the game and I saw that while I was looking for the team news, I should say, João Pedro, I hear the lineup and that he's been benched, which I can't say I'm shocked, because we always knew that he could be a rotation risk, which is a slight worry going forward with João Pedro. He came on to play 33 minutes and got a yellow card. I didn't watch the game again, so I don't know if he was involved, how involved he was. But that was a bit frustrating, if I'm being honest, him not starting. Looking at his expected goals as well, 0.16 in that game. So not the greatest. But again, that's what you expect when he was benched. But yeah, he is on the chopping block for me, if I'm being honest, João Pedro. And I think easy move is potentially Jackson, but we'll come on to transfers in a sec. And then finally, Haaland, who was my captain. He only got 2 points. Obviously, he blanked in Man City's 1-0 win against Newcastle. So for those that captain Salah, they did kind of, you know, do better, I guess. Salah did score, even though the penalty miss. I think Salah ended up getting 5 points, so 10 if you captained him. So you just, you know, you did outdo us Haaland owners, but not by too much. So all in all, that's how my game week's gone really so far. You know, I'm on 37 points right now, currently, with triple Arsenal to come tomorrow. So I'm still above the average. I think the average score right now is 33. So it's quite a low scoring game week. 37, which again, it's above average, I guess. But, you know, I think that is a red arrow, to be fair. I know ranks don't matter too much at this rate, at this stage of the season. So yeah, it's about 1.6 right now. And yeah, that's what the team looks like. Pickford had him in the bench. He obviously conceded 4. Archer came on with cameo. Kabore blanked, and obviously James is injured. So yeah, 37 points for me and triple Arsenal to come. Let's move on to your team, Jordan, because obviously you had a pretty good game week. And we'll come on to why that is. Talk us through, your team, your positives of your team, and then just go through what you make of your game week so far. I think you're on mute.
Apologies, I forgot to turn that back on. Yeah, let's kick it off with Ederson, who was in goal against Newcastle, and surprisingly, he did keep another clean sheet. So that's
I can't believe that. On the last season.
Yeah, compared to last season, it seems to be a massive turnaround now for Ederson, who's now kept 2 out of 2 clean sheets and is rewarded with 6 points from that 1-0 win against Newcastle. Now, I thought it was a pretty tough game, to be fair, for Man City, in terms of how close teams can get to scraping maybe a draw against Man City. But I thought Newcastle played pretty well throughout that game, but were a bit unlucky just because Man City, despite their injuries that they have in their team, they're still pretty formidable squad. But yeah, a nice 6-pointer from Ederson in goal. Moving on to the back three, we've got Estupiñán, who manages to get double haul. Another massive point week for Estepinian. And yeah, 11 points. He scored a goal. He got an assist. He did get a yellow card, but he also got a bonus one on top of that. So it was a pretty nice week for Brighton, winning 4-1 against Wolves, and a very bright form for Estepinian in that game. Moving on to Luke Shaw, who manages to only get 1 point. He was a point deducted because of the goals conceded against Man United, as they did lose 2-0 to Spurs. I have to say that was not the best performance I've seen from Man United so far. I mean, it's an improvement from Wolves. They were slightly more attacking, but again, it just wasn't clicking for Man United in that game. And yeah, I was pretty underwhelmed by their performances from pretty much everyone in that squad. But again, Luke Shaw, 1 point. And obviously they move on to Nottingham Forest, who they have as a home fixture. And then finally moving on to Trent, who is currently flagged with a knock. And he manages to get 2 goals. 2 points from his game where Liverpool won 3-1 against Bournemouth. So again, not a clean sheet again for Trent. A bit annoying because I kind of expected a clean sheet, if I'm honest, against Bournemouth, especially at Anfield at home. But again, there's that issue at the back where is there enough to cover that defence at the back from obviously teams scoring against Liverpool, and seems to be the issue. So yeah, I kind of have to look at that and wonder next week, obviously, because I do have 2 transfers, what to do with Trent, especially now that he's flagged. I don't think it's anything serious, but it is one to look out for. And moving on to the midfield, where it gets a bit nice. So we start off with obviously Mitoma. We've got his 12-pointer, so a nice double haul for him. He scored a goal, he got an assist, and he also got a bonus 2 points in that 4-1 victory for Brighton. So yeah, another decent haul for Mitoma again. An assist last week, and now he scores and now gets another assist this week. So yeah, very happy with Mitoma. He did play really well in that game, and yeah, it's been a nice double haul to come. And next we got Mbeumo, who topped it even better with 16 points with the 3-0 win against Fulham. So he scored 2 of the goals, one being a penalty and the other one being from open play. He also got a clean sheet point and got the bonus 3, which is going to be expected now from Mbeumo, because we obviously saw Tony in the past get the bonus 3 whenever he scored. So this is why I brought Mbeumo in as well for the bonus points, which he is rewarded with this week. So yeah, a nice double haul. Some people did captain it Mbeumo, so well done to those who did captain it, because you would have hauled really well with that 32. So yeah, nice return from Mbeumo. And next we got another Man United player, Bruno Fernandes. Again, only 1 point for him. He did get a yellow card, and that's pretty much it. I think he was best of the bad bunch, I think, in that team overall. I mean, he did some nice passes to other Man United players like Anthony and Casemiro, but unfortunately they can't finish their chances, which is slightly annoying. As a Man United fan, when you see Fernandes doing lovely passes over and through balls and you can't have players finishing them, it's quite annoying, because Fernandes, I feel like, is a level slightly above. He's a bit wide in more than other Man United players, I think, on the pitch. So yeah, I was a bit annoyed at that he got 1 point. There was a penalty argument around that game, but to me that wasn't a penalty. But either way, only 1 point for Bruno Fernandes. Obviously Saka, he plays Crystal Palace away tomorrow, so we won't know what he gets until obviously Monday. And finally we got Foden, who gets a 9-pointer from the assist from Alvarez's goal in that 1-0 win against Newcastle, and he was also rewarded with 1 clean sheet point and a bonus 3 on top of that. So yeah, I thought Foden by far was the best player on that pitch. Absolutely, he was everywhere, making runs all over the place, providing balls for other players. And yeah, I mean, he provided 2 balls for Haaland, which he couldn't unfortunately finish. But yeah, I was quite impressed with Foden. I mean, he's a brilliant replacement for Kevin De Bruyne in that respect. I feel like he's going to do very well, obviously, this season. I think it did help as well that obviously Bernardo Silva wasn't available for that game. So pretty much Foden commanded that game overall. And finally up front, we've got Nicholas Jackson, who just played a few moments ago against West Ham in that 3-1 loss against West Ham. The only thing Jackson got was the yellow card in that game. And yeah, I don't know what to think of Jackson, if I'm honest. I mean, he's had chances to score, but he hasn't quite finished them off really well. And I guess I'm going to hold on to Jackson because obviously the fixtures for Chelsea do swing now. I think Liverpool and West Ham were the difficult ones, and obviously now Chelsea have easy fixtures. So I'm hoping with Luton next, I'm hoping Nicholas Jackson can find some form, obviously from scoring, but we'll have to see. And obviously, finally, the captain of this week was Haaland, who only gets the 4 points. So yeah, a blank from Haaland in that 1-0 win against Newcastle. Didn't get on the score sheet. He could have done. He had 2 chances to get on that score sheet, but it was not to be his week, unfortunately for him. But we move on, and obviously it didn't affect me as much. I was not captaining Haaland, but I don't think I was going to go with anyone else. I still think I would have set on Haaland despite him not scoring or getting any return. But yeah, overall, that's how my starting 11 has done. On my bench, obviously we've got Areola, who just outdone Edison. He did get a goal, a penalty save from obviously
the Chelsea game, innit?
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez, he took the penalty and it was saved by Areola. So he got 5 points for that, and he did made 3 saves, so he got an extra point on top of that as well, which left him with 8 points. So if you did play Areola, well done. Botman, he gets 2 points. No clean sheet for Newcastle. Hill, he didn't play against Liverpool, and Mabama also didn't play in that West Ham game. So overall, my week has gone pretty good. I'm currently on 63 points, and I'm just under obviously 100k in ranks. I'm 104k, so I'm pretty happy with that. I was 1.8 million in game week 1, so it's a massive green arrow. It doesn't really matter much, so it's still early days, so that could easily change, but I'm quite happy how obviously game week 2, considering the average points, how it's gone.
Okay, nice. We'll probably get a few of your questions and comments in. There's a few comments I have dropped in actually. Sherwin says, good evening, guys. Well done, Jordan.
Thanks, Sherwin.
Dan as well was in the chat. Had a decent game week. Captaining Salah helped. Yeah, congrats for those that did go Salah over Haaland. It paid off. Obviously, that penalty miss could have been a bit better. But anytime you outscore Haaland, I guess allows you to be a bit different. Dan also says, going to give Rashford this week and see how he goes. A decent home fixture. Yeah, we want to discuss. Rashford, etc. And Man United actually. Now we're on the topic. We could, because let's bring up our teams for game week 3 and how we're lining up. I think I'm going to bring it up on the website. Because we've got to talk about transfers. I think this is going to be a big week because a lot of managers have 2 free transfers, so it's going to allow us to make the changes. And I think Rashford, I want to get your opinions on Rashford because you are probably the only few managers. I mean, there's a lot of managers have gone without that have Rashford in their team. You don't have Rashford. You've not had him since, and obviously so far so good for you. It's paid off.
Yeah. I mean, but Rashford's ownership has dropped a lot since that match. It was over 50%. Now I think it's at 47%. So a lot of people are selling Rashford now.
That you're correct. I'm just going to quickly see, very quickly, how many transfers out Rashford has had so far already. So Rashford already has been transferred out by 165,000 managers. He's the 4th highest transferred out player so far already. We haven't even got to nowhere near game week 3. So it is interesting because obviously Man United have Nottingham Forest at home, but we will discuss that in a sec. Let's bring up our teams for game week 3 and show you how we're looking, like how we're lining up. So I will share with you guys my screen. Bear with me for a sec, guys. Can you see that fine?
Yep.
There you go, guys. Hopefully you can see that all okay. I'm going to move it to the side a bit. It's a bit more. And that should be fine. So yeah, that is what my team currently looks like for game week 3. And the fixtures on paper, to be fair, look pretty good. So I'll quickly just go through it. So Pickford, who's got Wolves. I've got a back 3 of Gabriel, Chilwell, and Estupiñán. All 3 have home fixtures against favourable opposition. You know, Fulham, Luton, and West Ham. You know, Rashford has Forest at home, which again on paper looks like a good fixture. Mbeumo has Palace at home. Fernandes, Nottingham at home. Saka and Martinelli both have Fulham at home. And then up front, I've got Haaland, who's got Sheffield away, and João Pedro, who's got West Ham at home. So everyone has a home fixture apart from Haaland, who has Sheffield away, which is still very good on paper. And I've got this team has 2 free transfers, and I believe I have 2 million in the bank as well. So I do have a favourable amount of money to, you know, upgrade. And initial thoughts to me, Jordan, is I have to be patient with Man United assets. I know they've been bad. They were pretty much, in my opinion, played off the park against Wolves, but they won that game. Against Spurs, they played all right first half. They probably were the better team first half, but then second half they weren't great. So do you side with the opinion that fixtures breed form with Rashford and Fernandes? Because Tottenham was a tougher game. It was, you know, big 6 opposition, if you want to say that, that way. And then Wolves again. I know they weren't the greatest opposition, but Forest at home. Surely, if you have Fernandes and Rashford, you give them one more game week, and then you decide what to do with them. Or what do you reckon for someone that doesn't own Rashford?
Yes, statistically, the Man United have struggled with top 6 teams away. Like I don't think they've won many games away against top 6 teams. So this was expected. Man United to struggle against Tottenham, and obviously now when they have Nottingham Forest at home at Old Trafford, you kind of expect something like a spark to finally happen and ignite Man United, where they play like a team and not like a separate unit between each other. Because as we saw in other games, they were a bit lost when they were given the ball. They didn't know what to do with it. But I think being at home with the fans behind them, it might give them that boost of confidence now to get going, get those 3 points at home. And obviously with Rashford and Bruno Fernandes working well together, as we saw last season, with Rashford providing the goals and Bruno getting the assists from them, I think not the Forest game is the one where you can give them one last chance to show that they can pull their form back to what they were originally and what we expect them to be.
Yeah, I always said last season as well, like, and even in preseason, my main worry with Man United was if Rashford doesn't score, I don't see many goals in that team, because I don't see many goals from Anthony. I don't see many goals from, you know, Garnacho is playing there now quite a bit as well. So, and obviously we see Rashford has been moved slightly to play down the middle, hasn't he? Which obviously Rashford has been played down the middle. So that has been a bit of kind of like a complaint I've seen from United fans, that they don't like seeing Rashford down the middle. I'm obviously of the same opinion. I prefer Rashford down the left, and if he's going to be playing down the middle, I'm not sure I really want him in my team. But again, if I've held on to Rashford for this long, I don't think you could sell him before Nottingham Forest. So for me, initial reaction is I'm probably going to keep both my Man United players, because it's Forest at home. You know, Man United could get a penalty, and then Bruno can go slot that, and then, you know, get bonus points on top, and then it looks good. But let me know what you guys think, the viewers, for those watching. if you've got Rashford and Bruno, surely we keep them ahead of Nottingham Forest at home, because on the fixture it looks quite good. But Nottingham Forest aren't the easiest of teams, as we know as well. So yeah, let us know what you're doing, guys. Also, if you are enjoying the content, all we ask for is a like on the video. So please like, it helps support the channel, and also please consider subscribing as well if you're new around here. But yeah, I think I'm going to keep Rashford and Fernandes for another week, and then if they don't deliver against Forest and they look disjointed, etc., I probably will have to take one of them out because as we see from your team, which we've just gone through, the 6.5 million mids, Mitoma and Mbuemo, there's Eze, who hasn't really hauled yet, but he's looking good. Diaby, again, I know Diaby didn't really score today, but again, he looks very involved in everything Aston Villa are doing, and surely the points are only around the corner. So there's a lot of value in that 6.5 million bracket, and I've been impressed with those players. So there's that way you could downgrade and save a lot of money. So yeah, also I've got Saka and Martinelli. I think they're fine to keep against Fulham. Apart from the Man United guys, the only other concern I have is definitely João Pedro is a concern for me, because I know he's on pens, but worryingly he was rotated out and on the bench. So is he going to start against West Ham at home? I'm not sure. So one move I could easily make, because I do have 2 million in the bank, I could do João Pedro up to Jackson. I think I've got 2.5 million in the bank actually, so I could easily bring in Jackson. And obviously, as we spoke about Jackson and Chelsea, I know Chelsea won't. Oh no, they lost today. There wasn't the best game, but again, Chelsea's fixtures do look favourable again for me. So that is what I am looking at. Luton at home, and I think Jackson. What have you made of Jackson, Jordan? Now, you're an owner of Jackson, so are you keeping him for Luton and Forest and Bournemouth? I mean, he doesn't really get much better than that for a striker that you want to get goals from and off the mark with.
Yeah, this is why I brought Jackson in. I brought him in early just to see if he can get extra points against tougher, obviously the fixtures for Liverpool and West Ham. Unfortunately, he didn't. But now that I have him ready, he's set for those 3 nice fixtures coming up. Obviously, Luton home, Bournemouth, and then obviously, etc. So I think he's nicely set up now for Jackson. I'm just hoping he can find his clinical side of him, because he finds, obviously, when Sterling and then play together well today. I thought they played really well together between the two. I think they can run Luton ragged around the pitch. So I'm hoping Jackson can obviously find his shooting boots and get on the score sheet for that fixture, because if he doesn't in this one, I don't know what fixture he can possibly get his shooting boots. And so I'm hoping this fixture does prove that he's worth bringing in or keeping.
Yeah, so I agree. I think the fixtures are quite difficult to ignore in Chelsea's sense. I know, again, they lost today, but Luton at home, I want to take a punt on Jackson. And just looking at his ownership, have you got it on you, or what's he owned by? Like, I think he's owned by quite a few managers, isn't he?
Yeah, he's owned by 16% of managers.
Okay, so it's not. That'll probably go up, to be fair, come close to the deadline. A lot of managers maybe taking out Pedro. A lot of us started with him, but I had the view to always to move him to actually, Michael's comment, Jackson's still a good pick. I think, yeah, Jackson for me is still a good pick. I know he hasn't scored yet, but with the fixtures turning with Luton at home, I think I still want him, starting player at 7 million for Chelsea. I'd probably still want to include him in there. Dan also says, thinking of bringing in Maddison, Chelsea and Tottenham got a decent fixture swing. Yet we've spoke a bit about Chelsea. We will move on to Tottenham, I think, as well. You watched the game, Jordan. What do you make of this?
I thought it was a pretty good game, for Spurs, especially in that second half. Even though Maddison didn't get anything from that game, he was still involved in that final third. But I felt like, it was a good game for Spurs. I didn't see a foot wrong with them at all. There is still improvement, obviously, for Spurs, as there is for Man United. It's not quite there for Tottenham, but it's enough for them to prove that they can obviously win 3 points from tough games against Man United and obviously score goals. So when you have both of those in mind, and with the fixtures that obviously Spurs have coming up now, which are pretty nice, I think it is. I think it is worth bringing in Spurs players now that Man
Yeah.
United fixture is out of the way.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at the Spurs fixtures right now. So looking at Spurs, they've got Bournemouth away next, which Liverpool have just put 3 past Bournemouth at home. So that could be a nice game. Burnley after that, Sheffield. So I think if you are planning a punt on Maddison, it could be the time to go. I know there was slight worry that he was seen in crutches after the game. Apparently, it was just a precaution. So Maddison would be a definite keep. But again, we have to wait and see what the situation is with his injury. If it is a serious injury, then obviously take him out. But if you've got Maddison, he's a definite hold for me because the next 3 fixtures look pretty nice, and I think he could get you points. So yeah, that's my opinion on Spurs. Obviously, I didn't catch the game live, but I heard they did play well in patches in that second half. They looked attacking. Even Pedro Porro, etc., hitting the crossbar, I believe, and he's been an option that we've spoke about as well in the past. Worried about price rises, but don't want to make an early transfer. Lol, what to do? I mean, as we saw with Reece James last week, a lot of managers bought Reece James in early, and then we got midweek. I think we got told on, was it Wednesday or Thursday, that Reece James done his hamstring. So I would wait, guys, until the last minute possible to get as much info before we do our transfers, because you never know what can happen. There could be training injuries, etc., as we've seen. So yeah, I would wait till the final deadline if you can. If not, maybe even at least a day before I make my moves. Colm says, hit the like, people. Yeah, guys, if you are in the comment, if you're in the chat, sorry, make sure you do hit that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel as well. So initially, Jordan, I am thinking of, let me show you guys how it would look actually on the screen on the transfers page. So what I would be doing probably is taking out João Pedro. See, I got 2 million in the bank. João Pedro would go to Jackson, right? And that's 1 free transfer. I've still got 1 left, and that still leaves me with 0.5 in the bank. I don't really know what I'm going to do with that second transfer. I could roll the second one, and because the team looks fine. I mean, Gabriel, I want to see if he starts tomorrow night. If Gabriel doesn't start tomorrow night against Palace, he's 100% coming out my team. But if he does start, I'm probably just going to go with it and have him for another week. But I think the first transfer looks like Jackson for me coming in, and that leaves me with 0.5. We'll do the same with your team, Jordan, if you could bring up your team. And I'll go through a few more of these comments.
Yeah.
Roman Jarvis, welcome to the stream. I got both Bruno and Rashford. I can't imagine United don't score at least. Sorry, I can't imagine United don't at least score 2. So obviously Roman is a bit more bullish on Man United, thinking they should score at least 2. I kind of agree. I think Man United have to win this one. I know, it's still early days, but there is pressure on Man United to win this game at being at home as well. So yeah, I would expect Man United to win, to be fair. So yeah, I'm going to hold as well. I can't see myself doing Bruno and João Pedro to a 6.5 million mid and Isak. I can see myself doing that. Hold that for a sec. I'm going to get Jordan's opinion on that, but I'll let you quickly go through your team, Jordan, how you're lining up, for game week 3.
Okay, so yeah, this is how my Game Week 3 team looks like. So we've got Edison, who's got Sheffield United away. So yeah, I expect another clean sheet for Man City from that game. In the back 3, we've got Estupinian, who's got West Ham at home. Luke Shaw, who's got Nottingham Forest at home. Trent, who's got Newcastle away. Obviously flagged. In the midfield, we got Ibuemo, who has Crystal Palace at home. Matoma, who has West Ham at home. Bruno Fernandes, who has Nottingham Forest at home. Saka, who has Fulham at home, and Foden, who has Sheffield United away. And up front, we got the 2 forwards, Nicholas Jackson, who has Luton at home, and Haaland, who has Sheffield United away. Obviously, captaincy is going to be solely locked on Haaland for that fixture. And on the bench, we've got Areola, who's got Brighton away, Botman's got Liverpool home, Hill has got Tottenham at home, and Obama's got Chelsea away. So that is what my team looks like for Gameweek 3.
Okay, so just looking at your team first glance, I mean, you're pretty well set up, I think, because you've already got Jackson in there, who's got Luton. You've got Foden. I know what his ownership's like, but he's a bit differential. Obviously, done well this week.
9%.
9%. So yeah, he is a differential. And you've got him already in your team. You know, is there much you have to do to your team? You reckon? Obviously, you've got 2 free transfers. What's your early thoughts and in terms of transfers?
Okay, so if I go to my transfer page, I have a few ideas in mind on what to do with my transfers. One depends on whether Maddison's fit or not, but I think the player to take out, who I wasn't impressed with again this week, is probably Bruno Fernandes. So
interesting.
It could backfire, but we'll wait and see. Obviously, to replace him, if it's not Maddison, the other player I was quite impressed with today in that West Ham game was Sterling. So I may potentially go for another Chelsea player, and
Sterling.
Raheem Sterling, because I felt like in that game Sterling made some interesting runs into that box, which looked pretty dangerous, and the way he penetrated through that West Ham defense, passing one player after the other, I was quite impressed at that. And with Luton at home, I reckon Sterling can do some damage to that Luton defense. If he's doing that to West Ham, even though Chelsea still lost that game massively to West Ham, he still had the capability of breaking through the defence and providing balls into the box. So it may be going down the Sterling route, but obviously we have to wait and see what happens with Maddison. But Sterling, I would say, is my second option to pick from.
Yeah, that's interesting, to be fair, because I've not really thought about Sterling much. And I didn't watch the game, really. I catch bits of that game near the end. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect you to go Sterling. What's his ownership like? I know he's fairly low owned as well.
2%.
2%. So a super differential. I actually think this is a move that it could actually pay off, because a lot of us are looking at someone like Jackson, obviously playing up front, but the goals could come from Sterling if he is to, start these games, coming up. The next 3 look good. So yeah, Dan also mentions in the chat, Sterling was the main threat. He looked like he back in the days at Liverpool. So yeah, that's an interesting shout there, going with Raheem Sterling. Obviously you've mentioned Maddison as well, but I'm surprised that, as a Bruno owner, you've lost sort of faith in him, because again, what do you make of the people that saying, the fixtures now has swung for Man United, or do you think Man United could still end up struggling?
I think they could still do well. I think it's solely because I have 2 free transfers, and considering how everyone else did this week, it's made it pretty hard to think who I could really take out from my team, because everyone pretty much has done well, apart from Trent, obviously, who is currently flagged and got no clean sheet and is worth 8 million, a very prized defender holding a lot of budget. I think from just that, there's only really Bruno Fernandes and Trent, and I want to give Trent another chance, I think. But on the other hand, I want to give Bruno another chance. But I think because Chelsea and obviously Spurs have good fixtures coming up, I want to give a go with one of those teams and obviously see how it goes and see if the risk pays off.
Okay, interesting.
And I want to go different as well.
Yeah, obviously Dan again said Sterling looked good against West Ham. Shane was a midfielder. Gonna wait to hear about Maddison. Yep, we spoke about Maddison. Calvin FPL. Shout out to him. Says, all right, lads. Hope you're well, mate. It also says nice score, Jordan.
Thank you, Calvin.
Michael says thoughts on Martinelli. Obviously Martinelli's got to play tomorrow against Palace. I'm an owner, so I will be watching that game, seeing how he does. But yeah, I think he's a good hold still, personally. Again, we'll wait and see how he does, but I think he's a good player to pick still. And I think he's one of Arsenal's actually key players. But yeah, I will see how he does tomorrow. But yeah, I'm firmly still holding him. Yeah, that's fine, Jordan. Colm says, I think that's mentioning Calvin in the chat. Worst game week ever, only 26 points. Yeah, I mean, it's not been the greatest game week, and I'm on 37. I know it is a low scoring week in general. I think, as I mentioned earlier, the average score is 30, was it 33? So yeah, I mean, it's not been the best week, but yeah, look, it's been one of those game weeks where the 6.5 million midfielders have kind of, you know, top trumps, and that's why Jordan's done so well. You know, he's got Mitoma and Mbeumo. So I think those guys, if you've got both of those, then even a Salah draft, if you've got Salah in your team, you probably went with those two players. So yeah, you probably end up doing well. So yeah, hopefully, you know, we could do better in game week 3. Calvin says on 41 at the moment with Gabriel, Saliba, and Saka left. Went Salah captain this week. Yeah, obviously triple Arsenal. Same. I've got triple Arsenal, and yeah, Salah captain paid off, I guess, in the end. I was actually at the game, and when Salah missed that penalty, the FPL side of my brain kind of went off, and I thought, oh my days, he just missed the penalty, but then obviously got the rebound. So yeah, no, it paid off at the end of the day. So well done. The 6.5 million mid and Isak moves would be for after next week when Liverpool play Newcastle. So after next week. So okay, cool. So Newcastle have Liverpool next week, don't they? So I'm just looking at the fixtures. Game week 4, Newcastle have Brighton. Game week 5, they've got Brentford. So those two fixtures aren't the greatest, but Newcastle do look very good still. You know, only lost 1-0. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Isak, again, quite low owned. After that, the fixtures look quite good though. Sheffield in game week 6, Burnley in game week 7, West Ham in game week 8, Palace in game week 9, Wolves in game week 10. So yeah, don't rule out Isak for sure. And then Dan says, think I got 62 points with Saka, with just Saka left to play. Oh yeah, I mean that's a respectable, very good score this week, you know. So with Saka left to play as well. So yeah, well done, Dan. But yeah, let us know how you guys did. Actually, drop your scores as well in the chat. Also, as always, if you can, please share the video on your socials. Also, make sure you are following us, you know, on our social medias as well. It's at the top on the banner, you know, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our Discord. If you want to chat to us, make sure you join our Discord server. We're trying to grow the community, so do check that out. And also hit a like, guys, on the video as well. As always, all your likes are appreciated. Okay, Jordan. So you think just the one move you're making next week, potentially Fernandes out for someone like Sterling in or Madison, and then rolling the second one?
There was another transfer that I could potentially make in the defense if I'm not happy going with Trent. And I'll just bring my back up. Yeah, the other planned transfer, if it was to take out Trent, would to bring in the Spurs defender, who's Udogie.
Okay, interesting.
Because in that Spurs game, there was moments in that where he was attacking on that left-hand side. He could have actually, he did get an assist, I think, in that game. Just double checking.
I don't think he did.
Sorry, he didn't get an assist in the game, but I think there was a moment where he could have got an assist from passing it to one of the Spurs attackers. So I was quite impressed with him. And obviously, because of the fixtures Spurs have, you could see 3 clean sheets in a row for Spurs if they can get one against Bournemouth away and Burnley away and Sheffield United at home. So there could be potential to go for a Spurs defender. And you quite expect Udogie to carry a lot of minutes as well in this position. There's not really one to share that position with him. So yeah, he could be a potential second transfer plan I might go for, and that also saves a lot of money because I'll have 4 million in the bank as well. So the team I have set up is pretty cheap, but is currently working effectively. So hopefully, maybe this transfer move provides that same.
Yeah. Also, obviously, you could go for someone like Pedro Porro as well, because I think he hit the crossbar or something with that shot he had, and he's looked all right. I mean, Udogie, I actually mentioned him on the deadline stream, game week 1. I was going to have him in my team I kind of regret not going for him now because I went with Reece James instead, and I would have saved a bit of money. I would have saved $1 million, but yeah, he's only 4.5, and he's starting at teams like Spurs, so he's a cheap option to have. I think could be a good bench option as well when you can bench some weeks, play him as well. It's not a bad pick. Roman as well, 42 with Saka, Saliba, and Odegaard left to play. Bob's lasagna. I got 46 with Gabriel and Saka left. Yeah, so a lot of us do have triple Arsenal left or double Arsenal. Richarlison was the worst move I made in my first team. Yeah, Richarlison. Obviously not scored yet. Playing more advanced now. Obviously Harry Kane's gone, so I mean, you could kind of persist with it. Again, we've spoke about Spurs and their fixture swing. You could hope that it gets a bit better for Richarlison. He is involved more in the goals. Bob Zidane says time to kick out Man United assets. I'm not sure.
A massive talking point, isn't it? That
I think that is the main one. I think you'll get a lot of managers that have had enough of the Man United assets, like Bruno and Rashford, and gonna get rid. Let us know who you're going to replace them with. Bob's Lasagna will be interested to know. Are you going to go with a Chelsea asset with their fixture swing? Because they are taking a bit of the budget up, that Fernandes and Rashford double up, which a lot of us are on. I think I'm going to hold, if I'm being honest. I think at home, I think the fixture is still nice, and I'll probably assess from there. But yeah, I've not been impressed. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I mean, especially when we're seeing other midfielders, I think that's solely why a lot of people are now removing like Bruno Fernandes and Rashford from their teams, because they're seeing players like Mbeumo, who we've spoken about, around the 6.5 million price, who are getting double hauls, and then you see Man United players that are worth, well, Rashford's 9 million, getting 1 point, getting 2 points, and not getting nothing from 2 game weeks in a row, and I think that's causing that massive argument of, is it the time to kick out Man United assets while other midfielders that are cheaper value are performing much better in terms of form, despite what the fixtures are like for the teams?
Yeah, definitely an interesting topic that United. I'm sure we're gonna discuss them in more detail in the transfer tips video and even deadline, because I've got 2 of them. So yeah, initial reaction is I'm gonna keep them, but yeah, let us know, guys, what you think. Also, as always, don't forget to like the stream, guys. There's a few of you in here. So just drop a like if you can. I think there's not enough likes in the video compared to how many of you are in here. But yeah, look. What else? Any other major talking points really so far? I mean, Trent is one that in your team that we'll probably go on to discuss in a bit. He looked like he had a bit of he was hobbling a bit off the pitch, but I think Klopp said he was fine, so you should be good for that. Obviously we spoke Maddison about his little knock that he had. But yeah, overall it's been a interesting game week. But look, Arsenal, are playing tomorrow, and I think a lot can change still. If Martinelli goes and does well, or Saka does well, he could change a few things. But yeah, I mean, where else do you think we've got to discuss? I mean, I think there's a few more comments on Chelsea. Dan says thoughts on Chilwell and Gusto double up over the next couple of weeks. Obviously, Gusto started as we expected. Obviously, Reece James is now out. He's a 4 million option in that back line. Do you see Chelsea getting much clean sheets? I know the fixture turn. Would you be happy going double Chelsea at the back?
Yeah, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would go double at the back with Chelsea. I mean, even though they conceded 3 against West Ham away, I'd still be very wary of bringing in more than one defender from Chelsea. I think still. I think I'd rather go with the attacking sense of Chelsea players rather than defensive. I feel like these next fixtures you're going to see much more from the attack than you will from the defense. Maybe I'm wrong. Probably will get clean sheets with Chelsea, but I don't know. I think the upside is more in the midfield than the attack in the next coming weeks. Also,
the other thing, for going back to my team, the other thing that worries me with bringing in Gusto is Reece James. I know is currently flagged, and it says he's out until 17th of September, which obviously is about a month away. That could be even longer because we know how James and how injury prone he is, and he could get injured for longer than expected. But my worry with Gusto is when James does come back, again, it becomes another option that you'll probably have to remove again and use another transfer in him later down the line. Or I guess he's cheap enough to just keep on the bench. So yeah, that's the only worry, that when James is back, he gets dropped again. But I do have to obviously deal with James soon-ish because it looks like he's out for a considerable amount of time. So Gusto could still make sense, especially in the short term with the fixtures, as I did mention. Also, I didn't watch how he played today fully because I didn't catch most of the game. But if you see something, then maybe he could be worth the option. But yeah, that's the move I'm looking at is Jackson, to be fair. Sterling's an interesting one. I don't know how I'd fit him in. I do like Sterling potentially as a differential pick, but it would mean I have to take out. I can't take out the Arsenal guys, I don't think. I can't take out Mbeumo with the form he's in. I've got value, a bit of value tied up in him. He's had a price rise. Fernandes and Rashford are the only ones I could probably remove, but again, I want to keep them for Nottingham Forest. I'm actually hoping managers do get rid of those two players and they actually do well, and then they become low owned. So
that's exactly my thinking on that, because I don't know Rashford. I've managed to escape him not scoring for 2 weeks with his ownership higher than 50%.
Yeah.
So I'm quite chuffed with that now that his ownership is dropping.
Yeah, you've kind of, it's worked out really not having Rashford for you so far. Dan says, I lucked out with having Gusto on my bench player anyway, but I like Chilwell. Yeah, Chilwell is the one that, obviously, he'd had 2 price rises already. He was 5.5 million, but now I believe he's 5.7. So he's gone up quite a good amount. And he might have another price rise with these fixtures coming up. So yeah, Chilwell, I'm glad I do own him. But again, it was a surprise that he was, gone off after 60 minutes today. But yeah, I think we've pretty much touched upon all the bits and pieces that we needed to talk about, the main discussion points. Do you want to talk about Aston Villa and Pickford? Pickford conceding 4 goals. You watched that game a lot more. Diaby was someone you mentioned to me, obviously, pre-stream. What do you make of Diaby?
Yeah, Diaby was another player I was considering bringing in to Gameweek 3, depending on how he played in the Aston Villa game. Yeah, he didn't score or get any returns from that game, but I still feel like he played pretty well, despite not playing full 90-minute football. Again, that slightly put me a bit off that he didn't play the full 90 minutes like he did last game when on his debut. But again, he's one of those players that could do well in fixtures where Aston Villa, like the one against Everton, he could get a goal in, because there were 4 goals in that game, and
yeah,
Diaby could have been one of them to score it, but fortunately for him, he wasn't. But he's still a player, I think, at the price that he's at. He's still a cheap option that I think is worth going for, because his form in the first game did prove that. And yeah, as Dan said, he looks good.
Yeah, Diaby, I've been impressed with the way he's been playing for Aston Villa. I think he's going to be, I mentioned it quite a lot. I think he's going to be a brilliant signing for them. He's also had a price rise as well. So he's now 6.6 million and he's owned by 9% of you managers. He only got the 3 points today with a clean sheet point. But again, the fixtures coming up, he's got Burnley away next, which could be a decent fixture for him. And after that, it's Liverpool. Then it's Palace, Chelsea, Brighton, Wolves. So the fixtures aren't too bad. And I think he's one to watch, especially with his ownership, still under 10%. Diaby, we like the look of him. Interestingly, it's actually, the troll, was it? Who scored the couple of goals for Aston Villa? Bailey, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bailey. He got a goal and an assist.
Yeah, he came away with a 14-pointer, Leon Bailey, who was infamously in all our teams last season at the start. He's all right. I know he only played 45 minutes in game week 1, coming away. He only played 62 minutes, Leon Bailey, but he obviously done well. But maybe that is a bit knee-jerky looking to bring Leon Bailey in. But yeah, Diaby definitely looks good. Bob's Lasagna, what's your thoughts on Son? I had a feeling his time is coming. Jordan, you could take that question because you watched the Son and how he played.
Yeah, I thought Son played all right. I guess he wasn't too involved in that game. Like, you didn't see much of him, but there was parts of the match where we did see Son involved in obviously the through balls, like we would see with Maddison, passing it to the players up front, like to Richarlison and etc. But I feel like Son could be a good pick in the next 3 game weeks for Spurs. I kind of
Differential.
think, yeah, he's a massive differential. I'll just check his ownership quickly. Yeah, he's owned by 5%.
5%. Okay. But
5% of people.
do you see, when obviously you watched the game, did you see him, kind of getting more involved, looking like going to score? Obviously, last season he did struggle. But did you see enough from him to consider him for the run-in in terms of the fixture swing?
I didn't see enough of him, I don't think, to make me convinced to bring him in. I mean, he slightly was in my mind to bring him from the fixtures, but I kind of have to look at the form of also the other players, and I don't think he's there yet. I think Son is getting there, but it's gradually. I think it's with Spurs in general. They're gradually getting to the point where we can see him at their prime, but at the moment it is a slow improvement for Spurs, especially with the new manager as well, who they're just acquainted with too. So there is improvement, I think, from Spurs to come still. I feel like with Maddison, he's pretty much there. It's just the rest of the players around him obviously have to adjust and get on the same wavelength, I think, as the rest of them. But I think Son could be a good, decent option this season, but I think further down the line.
Adam 8 with a comment. I'm so confused what to do with Reece James. I could go Baldock, but then have 2.5 million in the bank. Obviously, I'm a Reece James owner, fellow Reece James, owner. I feel your pain, what to do with him. The player I like actually that you could swap him to with decent fixes coming up is actually Rico Henry at Brentford. Now, Rico Henry is a cheap, cheap defender, 4.5 million. He has Crystal Palace at home and then Bournemouth at home next. So double, back-to-back home games, I should say, for Rico Henry. And I think if you want to go cheap there, I would be going with Rico Henry personally. I do like the look of him. But again, there are other options. You could go Chilwell if you don't own him. I think Chilwell's fixtures coming up with the attacking threat he has. I think he's good. What other defenders are there, Jordan? Would you say? Rico Henry looks good. Estupiñán, you probably want to keep him longer term, even though the fixtures slightly turn for Brighton coming soon. Brighton have West Ham next, then Newcastle, Man United, Bournemouth after that.
Maybe a Spurs defender like Pedro Porro that we spoken about earlier, or Udogie. Those two would be potentially good ones to go for with the fixtures Spurs have coming up in the next 3.
Yeah, I also like Ruben Diaz at Man City. I know there's no attacking threat really, but it looks like Man City have a mean defense again. I mean, I know Newcastle played quite well, but for being honest, they don't have any chance of scoring a goal. I don't think from what I heard and from the highlights I watched, they didn't really threaten that back line. And Man City, Ederson at I kind of maybe regret not going with Ederson because Man City don't concede many chances, so Ederson doesn't really have much to do really. So Man City's defense, it looks strong, if I'm being honest. And if you want clean sheets, Ruben Diaz is the one that I'd probably go for if I had to go for a Man City defender, because the other ones I'd be worried about risk of rotation. Again, Chelsea, Gusto, if you want to take a punt on him. But I think that's it really in terms of options. Yeah, Spurs wingbacks could be a decent shout. Pickford and João Pedro replacements. Jordan, would you be replacing your goalie right now or using a transfer on him?
I think if I had goalkeepers like Pickford, then yes, because the way Everton played today, I feel like they're going to be relegated come the end of the season if they. That performance was utterly shambles from them.
Yeah,
they were all over the place today, and I'm not too confident Pickford will keep many clean sheets this season. It's like Everton last season; they didn't keep many either last season.
Yeah.
So I don't expect Everton this season, where they're playing to. In terms of replacements, yes, I probably would if I had Pickford in my team right now. I'd probably go for a goalie replacement because I don't see clean sheets coming from my goalkeeper otherwise. If I had to pick replacement for Pickford, I'd probably have to go with Edison, if I'm honest. There's not really another goalkeeper that I have in mind that I can see get clean sheets the way I'm seeing with Edison is, because the way Man City are set up at the back now, it seems they're more likely now to keep clean sheets than where we saw last season. They let 1 goal or 2 goals slip behind them, but so far this season it's paid off for me in particular, because I have owned Edison and he's had 2 clean sheets out of 2 so far, and he's got Sheffield United away in Gameweek 3, so I see another clean sheet coming from Man City from that game too. So I think in terms of fixtures and the form that I'm seeing from goalkeepers, I think Edison is by far the best pick to go for in terms of goalkeeper replacements at the moment.
Yeah, and also with Edison being 5.5, and due to the fact that a lot of us do have money, maybe we could have a cheap team and have a more of an expensive goalie and it still work out, because a lot of the options we want are actually quite cheap, like the 6.5 million midfielders, etc. I'll take one more question before we wrap it up, and that is a question from Kwanda, who says, "Good evening, lads. Is it time to sell Watkins? I have Mbuemo already, and I am not ready to get Wissa now." Obviously, Aston Villa come away with big win today, 4-0. Surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, with Watkins' penalty record. Watkins did win a penalty, and then Douglas Luiz took and converted. So it looks like Watkins is off penalties, which is still overall a bad thing, because you'd want your striker to be on penalties. So that is a bit of a minus point. But would I sell Watkins, Jordan? Because he is 8 million. We know he's not on penalties anymore. However, we know he can score goals from open play, and he's got Burnley next, Liverpool after that, and then Palace. So the fixtures aren't too bad. Maybe Liverpool one, it obviously is tough going to Anfield. And then compared to someone like a Jackson who's got better fixtures, would you sell, or would you give him that one more game week? Or Jackson against Luton, for example, is too good to turn down?
It's a tough one. I think I would give Watkins that last game though. I think the way Aston Villa played against Everton today, they bounced back really well, and I think Watkins, just got unlucky. I think in that game not to score. I mean, especially with the penalty not being a penalty.
He did win it. He did win the penalty, so got an assist.
Yeah, he got at least an assist from that game. But I would keep him for one more week, playing for that Sheffield game, and then potentially get rid of him when he has Liverpool for someone like Jackson, because Jackson's fixtures are still good after he has Luton, obviously at home, because he does have Nottingham Forest at home after that, and then has Bournemouth away. So he's still got Nicholas Jackson for 2 good fixtures still. You're only missing out on really the Luton at home one.
Okay, I think we are going to wrap it up here. It's been about an hour long stream. We want to thank everyone that has joined the stream. We want to thank you guys for all your comments all in the chat. It's been a nice, engaging chat with you guys. If you are, if you have been enjoying the content, guys, please, as always, all we ask for is a like on the video. Also, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're watching for the first time. A lot of content to come this season. And that is it from the FPL Duo. We're back again Tuesday for the transfer tips video. So make sure you do tune in for that. But for now, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan?
Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy what's left of the weekend. And we'll see you Tuesday for the next transfer tips video.
Thank you guys, and take care.